All right, I want to welcome everybody to this session, this library session for Ashley Hagler's class for biology. And we want to discuss the library resources that are available for you to help you out for your class. And we have a class guide that's going to be available for you to find resources. I'm going to share that with Ms. Hagler at the end of this session. If you want to come back and watch any of this video, you can come back and do that as well. I'm going to have that sent to her as well. I have pre-recorded videos that show people how to find various pieces of information that we have, how to find scholarly peer-reviewed journals, things like that. And that's also going to be in that class guide. So you've got a lot of information that's going to be coming at you. We're going to use the class guide that I've prepared as sort of the jumping off point. So that's going to be the thing that I'm going to show everybody's screen. So let me get in there and show that screen for folks. Now, hopefully everybody sees the Gaston College page. Great jumping off point. I'm sure everybody has come to this webpage many, many times. And I know that a lot of people have used this to get access to Blackboard and WebAdvisor and student email from the links that are located up here at the top of the screen. But you'll also notice that at the very top of the screen in the navy bar, we also have some important links, and they did a really nice thing in highlighting the library by putting our library link right here on the front of the homepage. Now, there's other places you can find it. You can find us in the quick links section that's over here. But this is a quick way to get to the library homepage. When you click it, it should open up into this library homepage here. Now, from the very beginning, there are a lot of resources that are available for you to do research with here at Gaston College. We get a ton of things sent to us from the state of North Carolina through a consortium called NC Live. They offer us many ebooks, many articles for research, streaming academic videos. And of course, we also have a consortium where we borrow and lend book material, printed book material through the community college system. And that is done by searching our catalog. So what I've done on this page is I've put a lot of links that are here, and it can be a little confusing about which way maybe to start. So I've created a guide page for you that will highlight the resources I think are going to be most beneficial for you here for this class. And I've done it in something called a class guide. So the class guide, that link will be sent to Ms. Hagler, and she can put that into the Blackboard class so you can come back to it. If for some reason you don't have access to that link right away, I want you to know that at the very top of the screen, right here where it says class guides, if you click this link, it will take you to a page that has over 100 different guides that we've created in the library. Some are based around different subject areas, and some are based for different classes. So I've created one for this class, so you should be able to come down alphabetically into the B's. You'll see Biology 250, Hagler, and that's the most recent class that I've created. And you can come in and click it, and it will take you to this page. Now on this page, this is a jumping off point for the resources that you have access to. And I'm going to talk about this whole entire guide through the navigation that's up here at the top. I do want to point out that probably in this class, I'm assuming that you're going to be doing APA citation. So I do have a guide that's over here to the far right. I'll end the session with showing you this guide. Pretty much English classes do MLA citation, so that's included here, but APA is probably the one that we're going to use for this class. But we'll also be talking about different issues of avoiding plagiarism, what fake news might be, how to evaluate websites, and then we're going to look at the material over here about how to find particular resources. Now, from the home area, I do want to point out that the college has an excellent writing center. Now, they've moved a lot of their stuff sort of as a virtual help, and so you can get information through the link here to the writing center. Great people to work with, and they can help you out in finishing your paper, getting your paper all tidied up, and help you out with those citations. I have a link underneath. This Gaston College Library's Information Literacy Series, actually a link to our YouTube page. The YouTube page is where actually this video for this session today, it's going to be housed there. As well, I'm going to send a link to Ms. Hagler to put into the Blackboard class. You don't have to come back and click this link, but this link has all the videos that we've created in the library that are different tutorials on how you can search different things in the library. And there are also some other classes that I've done sessions with, and I've saved their session and put that online. So you could look through any of that material if you'd like to. That's all a YouTube channel that I have created, and that's called the Information Literacy Series. The link that's down below here that says ProQuest Research Companion, that has been brought to us by a company called ProQuest, who has put together all of the basic information that you would need to be a really good college level researcher. This is completely something that you can use on your own. You can go in and take a look at it. There's several videos, there's several different mini tests and things like that. You're not going to be graded on it, but it's just something you can go through to make yourself a really good college level researcher. And that's available here on the front page. My contact information is over here on the right-hand side, so you can email me if you want to. You can schedule an appointment with me if you need any help. I'm here available in the library Monday through Thursday, 7 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The library is open until 9 o'clock at night, Monday through Thursday. So we're here to help you out. We're also open 7 to 4 on Fridays and also 9 to 1 on Saturday. If you need help virtually, we do have a chat that's available to you. There's a chat box right here on this homepage. So if you're running any kind of problems, you can chat. Now, this is a 24/7 chat, so you might not always get someone from Gaston College to answer your question, but we have librarians from across the state of North Carolina that can help you out if you run into any kind of problem, and this is 24/7. So in the evenings, late at night, you can ask a question and should be able to get somebody to help you out. Back up at the top of the screen, we're just going to move ourselves from left to right using the tabs that are right here at the top. So the first thing that I'm going to do is draw your attention to something that is a good section of resources that's available for you to have access to that may be useful for your research, and that is the ebooks that we have available for you. We have a very large ebooks collection that's available for you on many different topics and subjects. Right here at the very top of the screen, it says Find eBooks, and when you click it, that's going to take you to the next page, which has a video that shows you how you can conduct ebook searching. If you come to the right, it tells you what an ebook is and what types of things you can access it on. And then you have one link that's right here called the NC Live eBooks collection. And when you click it, it'll take you to a page that has 2 search boxes, but I'd like your eye to gravitate to this one here that says eBooks, search eBooks. So at this point, we're ready to go ahead and type in something that we're interested in trying to find. Now, I'd asked Ms. Hagler to give me, she sent me an email of some of what you're interested in doing, but I'm going to break it down a little bit into parts, and then we'll expand on it a little bit more. So if it looks like I'm going into something a little bit general right now as far as the first search, that's okay. I'm going to become more specific as we search with other resources. Right now, just to get us started, just to conduct a search, I'm going to type in horizontal gene transfer as a phrase that we can use to search to see what types of information might come back. Now I'm going to type that in as it is, horizontal gene transfer, but we do know that that's a phrase. And one of the things that we can do in searching to make sure that the databases understand that we want to find something together, where those words are not found in different sections of the book, or as we do article searching in different sections of the article, where we're actually going in and we're going to be searching for that as a phrase. Putting that in quotations can be a helpful thing to kind of keep something together that is a phrase or it's a term where you want to find the words side by side. You will still find hits if you don't do the quotation around it, but I will show you an example of another database and a search that it could make a difference with the number of hits you get back, putting the quotations or not. Now, just putting that in, that's a basic thing. I'm not putting that with any kind of correlation related to any other thing. I'm just putting in that particular phrase and running search. It's going to run out and it's doing an ebook search. So right now we're doing a search for books. At the top of the screen, I've got 409 results. Now, because the hits are hitting multiple resources at the same time, in other words, there might be a select group of books where it hits multiple times because that particular phrase shows up multiple times in that book. On the left-hand side, where it says book ebook, we can tell that we are drawing from 39 different ebooks that have information that had the phrase horizontal gene transfer. So from this, we can go into these books individually if we want to. There's one that has the title Horizontal Gene Transfer. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and show you there's one, Evolution Through Genetic Exchange, and a fast method for detecting and validating horizontal gene transfer using phylogenetic trees and aggregation, goes on. And just as an example to show you how any of this works, when on virulence of fungi and pathogens of plants, we click onto it. It should take us to a splashdown page. You'll see something that says NC Live. And what NC Live is, that's where the state of North Carolina has purchased resources for all of us to have access to across the state, whether you're at a community college, a four-year school, or a public library. So folks, searching these ebooks today, searching this collection of ebooks today is no different than a person at UNC Asheville, Carolina, Duke, Gardner-Webb, Davidson College, UNC Charlotte, where I'm from, UNC Charlotte thing. They're searching the same collection of stuff. Now, I'm going to put in an institution name, so remember, and then hit continue. So when you pick a book, it will take you to a splashdown page for that book. And it'll give you a little description. And then it'll give you these two options that are over here on the left-hand side. Either one of these is okay to use. Just want to tell you the difference between the two of them. When it says read online and you click it, that should open up the book. So this is the cover of the book over here. We've got a table of contents over here on the side that we could take a look at and go through. And the whole book is scanned in, cover to cover, the entire book. We could read this entire book page by page if we want to. And we can use some of the controls up here at the top to navigate. Now, this book is no different than a book on my shelf. The entire book is placed online for you to have access. It's just it's available as an online book. Now, it's available for you to have access, and this is like a web page access because we're connected to, the internet at this time, and we can go ahead and read that book. If you wanted to offline or offload this or download the book so that you don't have to be necessarily connected to the web to get access to it, that is where let me click on this again. That is where the link that said download book, you could use it if you wanted to. Now, it's free for anybody to use, but you do have to set up your own account. If you click that link, you go in, you create an account. It's a real easy thing to do. Put your first, last name, provide an email, password, hit the agree, create an account. What makes this beneficial is not only can you read this offline, but also if you wanted to make notes in the book, if you wanted to highlight certain sections, and then you want to go away from the book and come back, this would have saved it for you. You could log back into your account and it saves your stuff. So that's just a neat feature that's available, but you don't have to do it. If you want to, you can just always click read online, and that should take you to the book that you're interested in. And again, you can read it cover to cover. Now, the neat thing is, too, about ebooks as well as the articles that I'm going to show you as we move forward is that you have citations available for you that let you cite what you are finding research in, because you got to create citations to give the right credit back to where you're getting information from. If for some reason you had used information from this particular book, up at the top of the screen, there is a little symbol here with the quotations that says get citation when you roll over top of it, and when you click it, you're going to see that it defaults to MLA, but you can switch it to APA, and your APA citation is ready to be copied and pasted into your bibliography. So that is going to go ahead and have that done for you, and you don't necessarily have to fumble around with any guides, trying to figure out what you need to put in where. That goes ahead and does it for you. So it's a nice feature that the company allows you to have. So going into the ebooks, conducting a search, finding what you need, this is the process. This is way that you would go into it. At this particular point, I'm just going to take a little bit of a pause to see does anyone have any questions about ebooks before I transition over to show you how you can find scholarly journal peer-reviewed resources. Okay, hearing no questions on that, what I'm going to do is close out my tabs so that I can get back to the class guide that I've created. And I said we were going to move left to right, but we're also going to move from top to bottom in this particular section because not only do we have a section here for finding ebooks, right underneath it, it's finding articles. And if you come down below and click articles, you will come into another page where you can do research on peer-reviewed scholarly works from a number of different resources. Now, I do have a video that's here to show you how you can find peer-reviewed articles. But I want to let you know something about Gaston College and what Gaston College does or doesn't have. We have a lot of scholarly journals, but most of them, 99.9% of them, there are some other places that you can go to find articles, but most of them are housed within a resource called ProQuest Central. ProQuest Central is an extremely powerful database, and I have the link for it right here at the top of the page, and the description underneath says that it's a reference database for 175 different subjects, including biology and other sciences, for magazines and journals and newspapers. That includes peer-reviewed and scholarly works. So that's a good place for you to find good articles. I do want to point out, and I'm not going to necessarily do a search in this one today, but I want to point out something for you. This link that's right underneath called Credo Reference, that is a reference that draws from typical reference resources a library would have. So libraries have a reference section usually of books. The type of stuff that's found in there is usually things like dictionaries, encyclopedias, almanacs. They aren't typically things people read from cover to cover, but they go and get factual information. So we know about a resource called Wikipedia. We know Wikipedia is sort of like an encyclopedia online, but a lot of instructors don't want you to use it because Wikipedia can be a little sketchy. So what Credo Reference is it draws on traditional library resources that are coming from encyclopedias that will give you information on various topics. It is a replacement for Wikipedia, but one that can be seen as more substantial for you to use. But it's also one that's not going to be research oriented. In other words, it's not going to be where someone has written up their research and presented it in a publication, more than being a good description for topics or descriptions for subjects. So if you're wanting to get good background information on a particular topic or subject, Credo Reference is good to help you kind of build your vocabulary, build your knowledge base, and then you can go in and you can conduct searches within ProQuest Central and be a little bit more effective when you're doing your searches. So we're going to do a search in ProQuest Central. I'm going to show you how you can do some searching to kind of pare down some of the hits that you get back. And I want to show you something really quickly before we actually get there. I'm going to copy this link to show you that when you are at home and you follow my directions and come back to ProQuest Central, you're going to be asked to log in. All right, and that's not a big deal. This login is the same as your Blackboard login. Now I know with Blackboard they have you do your whole email address with the @mymail and all that stuff. You just have to do the first part, the username part, and the password should be the same. Now for Miss Hagler, Hagler, and I can tell you this anytime. You don't have to write this down if you don't have a pen or paper with you. But I want to show you something. There's a thing called GCNC Live. I typed it in the username box. If you have any problems, if any student has any problems, folks in this class, if you have any kind of problems trying to log in, if you put in GCNC Live as the username and the password, that's going to get you in. So that's a generic login bypass that you can use to log in. We would want you to go ahead and log in as yourself as an individual, but if for some reason it doesn't work for you, This is a way around it. Put it in lowercase, GCNC Live, put it for the username and the password. That's going to get you in. Now, once you get in, you will, I'm going to go ahead and click that link. You'll go into the home page for ProQuest, and it's just like doing a Google search. So at this point, we've got a search box ready to go, and we can type in the terms that we need. Now, I'm going to amend the search a little bit more, but I'm still going to go with this original search we had that was the horizontal gene transfer. And I know there's some other parts of this that we can correlate with and work with. But I want to show you, I talked about the whole thing of relevancy and putting quotations around something. Folks, if I just ran that search as it is without the quotations, you'll notice at the top of the page, you've got 66,000 hits. If I put quotes around this, that's going to limit the number of hits that you get back, 21,000. The reason being is these hits right now have to have those words side by side. You can get hits to come back, but if they're looking for the word without the quotation there, and they're picking the word horizontal somewhere and gene somewhere and transferring different paragraphs, that's not going to be relevant to you when you're getting your search, because you want to find that phrase. So putting in horizontal gene transfer with the quotations could be a better search for you to come back as far as the hits. Now, we're going to move into what kind of stuff we got back. Now, on this hit result, we've got 1, 2, 3, and on down the list 4, 5. We're going to see that it's going to tell you the type of stuff you're getting back when you conduct an initial hit or search in ProQuest Central. So this is something called wire feed that's over here, and in the bold at the top, now this is all the citation information for this article. We'll see that Life Science Weekly is a wire feed resource. Wire feeds are pretty much the same as newspapers, and the title of the article is here. We're going to see that this came out January 2018. This article came out November 2019. This came out April 2019. Now, these are all print publications that are just purchased by the ProQuest company and placed online. Right now, you're getting 21,000 hits, but they're coming from different types of sources. A source is a type of publication. There are different types of publications. We have publications where articles are published in journals, newspapers, magazines. When you open up a newspaper, it has articles within it. Open up a magazine, it has articles within it. Journals do as well. The thing is that if your instructor is wanting you to find journal articles, you want to only have that source. So you want to come in and under source type, click where it says scholarly journals, and then all of the hits will come back and say they're coming back from scholarly journals. In this case, BMC Genomics is the one who did this first article. International Journal of Medical Microbiology did this article. Now, you'll also hear an instructor say, well, I want them to be peer-reviewed articles. Peer-reviewed is very similar in the same scope as saying scholarly journal. When you come into ProQuest, you can click scholarly journal after you've done your search down here, but you can also check this box that says peer-reviewed, and you should get just the peer-reviewed scholarly journals. Now, the hit count sometimes fluctuates a little bit, and there's a little splitting hairs on how they determine what's a scholarly journal versus peer-reviewed. But the term peer-reviewed, if we think of the term peer, and we talk about peer pressure, right? What are we talking about with peer pressure? We're talking about when someone is influencing you. And typically that's somebody in your social group or similar group of yourself. That's how that term sometimes gets used. But we're going to talk about peer review in terms of the knowledge base that we have. So these journals, BMC Genomics, International Journal of Medical Microbiology, they have groups of people that work for those companies, and they have researchers who research those specific topics, either genomics or medical microbiology, and those folks will take other people's research, because if somebody's doing some research and they want to get it out into the world, they try to get it published in one of these scholarly journal publications. So they go and present their information. Those people will look at their background of the person who did the research. They'll look at the scientific methods that they used to do the research, and once they give it the stamp of approval, it gets published in their publication. They pay the person who did the research, and everybody's happy, and they sell magazines, they sell them to libraries, everybody as a good time, information gets out to the world. Now, when we say peer reviewed, that means when I put or when a researcher gives their information over to the journal, what they're doing when they're reviewing your background and reviewing the scientific methods, they're doing it within your peer group. I mean, there are journals that are out there for librarians, but you sure wouldn't want to submit your research dealing with genomics to a library journal. That wouldn't make any sense, and they aren't even your peers. You want to submit to like-type research area and like-type researchers, and then get published in those similar types of publications. So all those articles have been sold and been placed online. You can go in and you can click them. Great thing is about ProQuest Central is they scan the articles in for you. You have the whole full text. And also on the right-hand side, the cite button, very important. Now we default to MLS citation because, quite frankly, we have a lot of people who come to us from English classes doing research. So that becomes the default, but you can always change over to APA. Now, you'll notice APA 6th edition is here. There is an APA 7th. In the month of September, the ProQuest company has assured me that they will eventually switch over to what the standards are for APA 7th, and that's going to say APA 7th. But for folks, students, everybody in here, pretty much just look for the APA at the beginning, click it, that's going to take you to your APA citation, and then you can take it, copy it, put it in your bibliography if you were to use this information in your research. Now, I'm going to go back a screen and show you that we did a search here. I've selected peer reviewed as far as limiting, so that got us to 15,600. But we want to take a look at maybe its relationship with horizontal gene transfer, and we've got some other things here, cautovirals, bacteriophages, so if I'm spelling it right, and bacteria. So if we're going to do that between different types of another type of concept, or we want other words to show up within the article to describe another concept, like we have this phrase, but maybe we want to have bacteria to also show up. Whenever you're putting in another term, it's good to put "and" in between the terms to just basically get into a conversation with the database to say, I want to find this and this in the same search. The more things you can think of that describe your search, the less hits you'll get back, but hopefully more on target with what you need. So now if I have to meet this particular protocol here, we will get less hits. So now from 15,600, we've got 13,564. And we have articles, you can see how it's hit, that mention both of those terms within either the title of the article or within the article body itself. Now we can add other types of things too. If we said, well, if it mentions bacteria and cautovirals, we could put that in as well. Or we could just switch bacteria and cautovirals out and with horizontal gene transfer. So there's a number of different ways we can manipulate the search if we want to. Just remember, anytime you "and" in another term like this, and you asked it to meet this criteria, the less hits you're going to get coming back. Now, on the left-hand side, we did something where we limited to a particular source type. Scholarly journals, peer-reviewed, we could do that. But you can also, a very important thing you can do is limit to the publication date. If you only want to have the last few years, you can use the slider over and you can select a certain date range if you want to with the slider. Now the slider does this usually by, usually does this by, sometimes by decades or sometimes by year. I did 2015 to 2020 here. But if you want to, you can put in a date range specifically if you want. And so you could say you want it from a specific time to a specific time. And so that you could type that in using the calendar feature that's over here. So that's another way for you to reduce the number of hits that you get back and maybe more on topic with what you need. You know, a lot of people who are going in and finding, and they're doing research in the medical field, you know, they ask me to they only want to find things in the last 5 years. So using that publication date, that's a way for you to do that. And that's over here on the left-hand side. Now there's other things that you can limit with, but primarily source type and publication date. Those are the ways in which you can kind of narrow things down and hopefully get more on topic with what you need. Again, going back in, I'm going to select this first one as a hit. You do usually have abstracts. These are paragraph summaries of what your article is about. The example I clicked on before had the scanned in article. This one has it rewritten in a web page format, but also has the PDF at the top. Again, those PDFs are just reinforcing this came from a print publication, and this is how it looked when it was in that print publication. So it kind of looks familiar to you as a way of showing you how something's laid out in print versus taking the text and putting it into a web-based format like this one is done. Okay. Now, the charts and graphs are always going to fall over. It's just that these charts and graphs, when you click onto them and look at them here, they're not necessarily going to be laid out in the same way that they were in the magazine. So that's why sometimes they offer that scanned in PDF for you, so that you do have the ability to see it originally. And then if you want to take a look at some of the charts and graphs as it was laid out, move this down a little bit, then you can see where they actually showed up on the page. And might even get a little bit better detail too in terms of when you're printing things out, stuff like that. All right, now that is showing you how you can navigate and search the ProQuest Central database. At this point, I'm going to again take a pause and ask anyone if they have any questions for me about utilizing ProQuest Central. Okay, not hearing anything, so I'm going to close out these things. And I want to point out that when you're on the class guide page, pretty much when you click onto a resource like ProQuest Central or anything I have embedded, it should open up into another tab, and then you can search that resource. When you're done with it, you close that tab out. You should be back here. If you get click happy and you close everything out, or you're in Blackboard and you click stuff out, remember it's going to be in your Blackboard class. But again, you can always come back up to the home page for Gaston College, click on Library, come into the class guides link, and find Biology 250 Hagler down here. Now, we have another one here. We looked at ebooks, we looked at articles, so now we have finding streaming videos. We do have some streaming videos that are available for you for research, and those are done through one resource that we have available to you. It's a really large one that has over 40,000 academic streaming videos available for you to do research on. And that can be found underneath this tab for Find Streaming Videos. When you come in, again, there's another video here that tells you how you can search streaming videos. There's a screen capture of something called Films on Demand and a link down here for Films on Demand, a little description of what it is. So Films on Demand, again, is one of those resources that we have access to through something called NC Live. Everybody across the state has access to this. There are people at UNC Charlotte, Carolina, Duke, Winston-Salem State. They're searching the same stuff. They got access to the same stuff. And when they go in and search, you can go in and search just the same way. You click on the Films on Demand link. It's going to go right into the page, and you can conduct a keyword search. I'm just going to do a really quick search here. I'm going to type in the horizontal gene transfer of justice, something to grab some hits. And we get some hits that come back. So here's one on gene transfer here. We've got some other kind of hits that are coming back. And again, that's sort of where I was talking about relevancy. If you want to, if you come back up at the top, and I put that in quotations, that may make a difference in the hit count and maybe on what you get back. So again, I still have a gene transfer video up here at the top. I've got one on evolution and phylogenetics. I even got one here on magic mushrooms, the not so trippy reasons mushrooms are psychedelic. Just for fun, let's take a look at this particular video. When you click onto it, it's going to take you into the video itself, and you can cite this video if you want to by using the cite link. Again, we default to MLA, but you should be able to find your APA. Just look for it. It's up here at the top. Just click it, copy and paste that APA. The nice thing about the videos that we have is they include a couple of things. One, when you play them, they play right through, and it's great, and they're good resources for you to use. They include the closed captioning. which a lot of videos have. So you can click this closed captioning if you want to, and that'll run the text on the bottom. But also, if you look over here on the right-hand side, this transcript, sometimes it's not always selected, so you can toggle back and forth between where it says segments and where it says transcript. And if you click transcript, this is actual text of
Charlotte job?
the video. Yep. Hello?
Ah, that's good.
Hey, is this Steph? Could you mute yourself?
Sorry,
That's okay. All right, that's okay. The text of the video is actually here in the transcript, so you can actually click it too, and it would go straight to that part of the video and start playing wherever you kind of selected text. The nice thing about this is that if you were quoting something from a video, instead of playing it and stopping it and being like, what did they say? And having to go back and play it again and write down what was that quote or what was that point they were trying to make. The text is over here, and most of the videos that are in Films on Demand have that transcript available, which I think is a really nice benefit to have available for these videos. So you can see as a running text. Also, as you're playing the video, you can have this go in and it'll highlight the words for you. So if there's somebody that mumbles something in the video, you can actually see what they're saying over here on the side and the context of everything too. Instead of just seeing the little bit of closed captioning, now you see all the paragraphs and everything of what they were talking about. So this is a great place for you to go into to find some additional information. It's kind of a fun video that seemed to happen putting in that particular term. But those three tabs and those resources are pretty much going to be a great starting point for you. Now, there is another resource that's out there that some people have probably already had some experience with or heard about, and I have it on the library homepage, and I'm going to show it to you really quickly. That's called Google Scholar, and it's underneath this section that says search for articles. And if you click on it, it's a Google search, but it says Scholar after it. This is not, it's not a bad place for you to find information. Just want to point out something to you. This is now moving us into what we'll call the free internet. And so what happens is a lot of things are indexed on the free internet, and you'll get descriptions about what an article is about when you do a search here, but you might not always get the full text. And that's because the companies that are producing this content, whether it's in a magazine, newspaper, or scholarly journal, they want to get paid, right? So sometimes you can use a Google Scholar. It may tell you a little bit about an article that you really like, and you think, oh man, it's really cool, but it doesn't let you go in without having to pay a fee. That's why coming back to ProQuest Central is important, because we paid for this stuff, and this stuff is available for you to get access immediately. So that's the full text. However, do keep in mind that if there is any article out there that you can't find in full text in our resources, if you have the title of the publication, the author, the date of the publication, if you have the page numbers for it, basically the citation information, if you submit that to us, we can contact a library that does subscribe to that publication, and they can either scan it or copy it and have that article sent to us to give to you. That's called interlibrary loan, and most libraries allow you to do that. That's also a service available for books as well. If we can't find a book for you, another library may have that book in their collection. We can order it from another location and have it brought here for you. Just contact us and we'll get that working for you. So Google Scholar is out there. That's available for you. And that's, again, it's not something you have to have a password to get into. You can just search it. Do want to let you know that if you're wanting full text, that's where you can run into some issues. You might have to pay, but we don't want you to pay and come see us. We'll get you the article. Now back on the guide page, evaluating websites. So Googling is a very initial thing. It's something that everybody likes to do, obviously. We're familiar with it. We're familiar with that search engine. It's been around for quite a while. I do want to point out that as you're searching what we'll call the free web, I've got a video here about credible websites and a little bit of information for you to kind of keep in mind about credible information, is that you want to critically evaluate the things that come back to make sure it's good and useful for your research. If you stick with the library, pretty much that question's been answered for you. But if you were out there Googling, you kind of want to maybe ask a few questions like, when was this website updated last? What's sort of the currency of it? Does it have any dead links? A lot of things, the objectivity of it, that has to do with whether it's slanted to a particular, a lot of times things are politically motivated and placed out there, but for political reasons, they want to have certain political points, and they slant information for their biases. So there's a lot of different things that you cover, and this is just sort of a thing for you to kind of keep in mind, take a look at, and make sure that it's good stuff for you to use. Also, I have at the top of the screen, this is a politically charged term, but it really shouldn't be. It's something that's an important term to use. So don't get weirded out. I think people on two sides of the political spectrum hear this term and think of it in different ways. But there is a term called fake news, sort of been propagated in the last 4 years. And this is, again, really getting back to critically evaluating resources on the web. It's just trying to keep you aware of critically evaluating these resources, what the resources are that you're getting back. When you're coming to a library, it's traditional resources, books, it's articles from publications. It's not just somebody getting a website and putting something out there. And so, there's a lot of things you might want to take a look at in this that kind of help you discern what's good or what's not for your research. This is an opportunity for me to talk about, and this is not going to affect you because you're pretty much science oriented and science fact based, but it's something just to mention in general. Social media is a really, really bad place to get information. I think a lot of us know that, and I think a lot of us joke about that, but unfortunately we still can fall victim to things that are posted, because there's a lot of people that will put things out there that kind of make things look legit, but it's really not. And so you just have to really be careful about that. Plagiarism is another thing that you kind of have to be aware of when you're doing your citing, that you're notating and citing where you're getting your information from. You don't want to be taking the words from someone and making it sound like it was you speaking or telling what this information is. So you always have to cite where you get your information from. And plagiarism is a terminology, if you're not familiar with that. There's a nice video over here that will tell you how to avoid that issue. And then lastly, on the far right-hand side, the APA citation. This is, when you click it, it goes to another guide. It's another tab at the top of the screen that'll open up. And this is a guide to help you find tons of information on how to cite things. When you come underneath the how to cite area, you can see how to cite journal articles is here. But maybe you were interviewing somebody for something. There should be a thing for interviews. So that's under personal communication. Or if you're finding things from books, even from class notes and lectures and presentations. This is going to give you a good way to, or good examples to show you how to cite a lot of different types of resources, videos, etc., general websites, things that you might have Googled, that kind of thing. Also talking about how you do in-text citation, paraphrasing, quoting, and how to put together your bibliography. Also, a sample paper is here too. So a lot of good information is placed here in the APA format guide. So I'm going to close that out. I'm going to come back over to the home page, and I want to summarize things in review that I've created this guide for you. This page is going to be sent to Ms. Hagler, and she's going to put it into her class. You come straight back to it. If you want to search for ebooks, all you have to do is click on the tab here, and you can click on NC Live eBooks, conduct an ebook search. You can also come down and do your article searching or your streaming video searching. Do want to point out that if you click on the ebooks, and I'm going to do this search really quickly one more time. I don't know if you noticed this before, but when I told you we found about 39 books, that's the default for this thing to search, but it doesn't limit just to ebooks. If you want, you can come up and you can take a look at the journal articles, or these are also scholarly journals. These mostly are pulling back from the ProQuest Central database, but so you're getting overlap from both places, from this resource and ProQuest Central. You're not going to get a lot of unique things necessarily that's going to fall through the crack. This is a lot of similar stuff that we had from the other one. I know the hit count with the 19,000 might be a little bit different than when I ran the search before, but pretty much it's the same kind of stuff. So if you want to, you can stay in here and do your journal article searching as well, or you can close this out and do ProQuest Central and just search journal articles if you want to. But I just want to point that out, and that's available. They also have a thing here at Refined Search where it says scholarly and peer reviewed, and again, it would only give back the journal articles. I know that changes this hit count here. It's hard for me to go into whole algorithms of why the numbers change a little bit, but just be assured that when you click on something like scholarly and peer reviewed, you're getting scholarly journals to come back as far as your hits. All right, so that's a lot of content to go through. There's a lot of stuff that's available for you to have access here at the library. I'm going to take one last pause here to see if anybody has any questions for me. And you can unmute yourself and ask those if you need to. All right, and I hope that everybody has been able to see some resources that can help them out, and hopefully demystify some of this searching for things in the library and some of the issues that are involved in that. And hopefully, if you had any anxiety over doing this research, hopefully I've lifted that. My idea is to lower anxiety and lift the confidence that you have, so that you can come back in and enjoy these products that we have available for you here in the library. We're very proud to be able to offer those to you. Does anybody have any last questions for me before I close out the session? Ms. Hagler, do you have anything for me?
No, but I just want to remind the class that we're going to meet back in our regular Zoom room after this session is over for some group work. I take about a 10-minute break and come back in. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate the time with everybody today. And again, if you need any help, just come over and see us here at the library or chat with us. We're here to help you out, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate this.
Sure thing. Bye.